Hi parents, it's Kathy Morrison here, coming to you to do part 2 of our color composition instruction. The last time we were together, the children had worked hard counting the syllables of each of their colors, and then they took the number of syllables and they used rhythms much like this, where they, maybe if they had 4 syllables, they might have chosen 4 quarter notes, or if they had 5, they might have chosen something like this, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. And then they wrote that down on their paper. So the name of their color was here, the number of syllables would be here, and then the rhythm, whatever rhythm they chose. So today I wanted to show you how we take one of these squares that has the number of syllables and a rhythm to go with that and convert it into a measure of music. I do like to use leading questions when I'm working with the kids on this. So usually the first question I ask is, well, what's your favorite note on the recorder? And a lot of times the answer that we get is A, because that's one of the first notes that we learned. So let's say that your child had a measure with 4 syllables in it, and they wanted that first note to be A, and we're going to use this rhythm right here. So I'm going to take this and turn it into an A on my staff paper. If you're wondering how you can know where the notes go on the staff, I just want to remind you that in your Recorder Karate notebook, at the bottom of each page, there is a chart that gives the fingerings as well as the note names and where they live on the staff. So if your child should say that their favorite note is A, then you can see right here that it lives on the second space. And that's what I'm drawing here on my piece of paper, is an A. I also think it's helpful sometimes to repeat favorite notes. So since my rhythm was ti, ta, ta, I'm going to turn the ti into 2 A's, like that. Then I like to ask them, well, do you want to go up or do you want to go down? So let's say that the child wants the next note to go up. Well, right after A comes B. And so the next one can be B. If they want to continue to go up, then they could even draw a C. And then finally, this first measure starts to look like this. A, B, C, and a rest. So again, you're taking this rhythm and you're just adding notes to it, and you're putting that on the paper. Just a reminder, we talked about taking the staff paper that's in your Recorder Karate notebook and adding a treble clef to each one of the 2 staves, and then adding the 4 bar lines so that you have 4 measures to work with. So this is something that I recommend that you do first, is putting the treble clefs and the bar lines on the paper, and then they're ready to go to add their measures of music. Once you do this for one measure, then it begins to click, and the children begin to realize, oh, I see how this works. And then when you move on to the next rhythm, like let's say the next rhythm is this one with 5, and it might be a half note and then 2 TTs, well, then it gets easier. So you're looking at this and you go, okay, well, you ended on C. Where do you want your next note to be? And let's just say they're like, well, I want to stay on the same note. I like that C. Well, then the C could become a half note. And then they have 2 TTs. Well, where do they want it to go? Do they want to go up? Do they want to go down? Let's say they want to start going back down. Then you can add a TT going down and another TT going down. And the second measure might look like this. C, B, B, A, A. And suddenly, half their song is written. So it might seem like a lot, but once they get started and actually it's usually like getting that first couple of notes down on paper. Once we get past that, it gets easier as they go. When they're done with all 4 measures, I want to invite you to make sure they put their name on there and they acknowledge that they wrote the piece of music. And then a lot of times I'll ask them, what do they want the title to be? And if they wonder about what to choose, I ask them, what are the names of the colors? And when they think about the names of the colors, then often that leads them to what they might want to call it. So if it's a bunch of different colors of blues. They might say, oh, well, it's like sunset because the sky's a bunch of different color blue at night. Or greens might be, oh, that's like a forest because there's a bunch of different color greens in the forest. So whatever name of the composition that they want it to be, help them get that down, and then they're set. Earning their red belt for me is about completing this. I would like for them to play through it, but this is not something they have to memorize and play like the other belts. It's the actual writing of the composition that earns the red belt, and you want to play it through just so they can hear what it sounds like and they can really celebrate the work that they did. Okay, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. This is a big milestone for our kids, and we're so excited to help them get this done. Okay, have a great day.